We're back, Jack. Just kidding. I'm Chris.
I'm Peck.
Well, we're here tonight to talk about shoot interviews and the power or lack thereof they have on all of us.
Sometimes I wonder, are we like the only 5 people that heard Billy Jack Haynes' conspiracy thing?
I'm starting to wonder because it's not ringing a bell to any of my buddies. Even my friends that have shoot interviews are like, who? So sometimes they're so poorly edited too. That RF video, they're great interviews, but
they don't edit. That's the problem. They just let it go.
But like it'll just like they'll say, okay, we're gonna take a break, or oh, we're gonna cut, and then it's still going on. Just edit a little better, please. Okay. Anyway, I think they're fun to watch.
I think they are, especially the ones that actually, that have like a comedic element to it, or whenever it's somebody that brings up a beef that we didn't know existed. But it's not from someone that could possibly fight the other person. Like Jim Cornette bitching about Batista. That's always good fun, even though we know Cornette's crazy.
Yeah.
In theory, unless he has a weapon, he's not going to be able to hurt Batista.
Well, here's my question, too. Yeah, it's not going to happen. How do they legally use, like, the images of the wrestlers the way they do? Like, they'll use ones from WWF pictures, or how do they do that and be able to, and then they're able to sell these items? I don't know.
Well, the way we always did it was, there's a thing called, there are images they can write for permission, or there's, the person that took the images, you can, get their authorization. There's also something called Creative Commons, which we did a lot in college, where, basically if you needed a picture or something, you would just type in. There would actually also even just be a Creative Commons search engine, and any picture you found there was free license. No one had any ownership.
Beautiful.
You were allowed to use it.
Go lurking around there on a Saturday night. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's not really anything good. It's only like things you can use for papers. I mean, I was able to find some like cars that I needed for like assignments and whatnot. I never really tried like Creative Commons like Gothic model, but I mean, it doesn't mean she's mine. It just means that I can have the picture and use it.
I love legal loopholes and like things like that. That's another fun discussion.
That's a good tag team. Why didn't IRS team up with somebody else and then like form a tag team called
Legal loopholes. I'm telling you, man. Or sexy sleeves. That's my favorite tag team name. But what is probably like some of the best? I've seen Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair shoots, Billy Jack Haynes.
RVD's, but his was too political because he was still with WWE. And it was
Don't you hate that?
He was one of their main guys.
That's like
when he really talked positively about Cena. But then again, RVD never has a bad thing to say about anybody.
Not really, no. Unless it's true. I mean,
even if it is, like, I don't really think that he's ever sober enough to be angry with anyone.
No.
So I don't think that necessarily, I don't know, like he just kind of talked about one night stand and whatnot, and it didn't sound like.
Well, the thing is too, like I hate when they are like still with the company and like they write the books and like WWE books,
and it's just all colored and everything. You can tell like it's like this is the Vince McMahon point of view.
Yeah, their version. They can't tell the truth.
Like, Shawn Michaels' book, I liked it, but there were times when I felt like Vince McMahon had a hand up his ass and was working his mouth.
Sam Bischoff, man, that thing was guarded. He did not tell all, that's for sure.
Controversy creates cash. Yeah, not for you. Nobody bought the book.
I did, but that's about it. Yeah. Or the big thing about the Honky Tonk Man, he's like, oh, I love that one. It was like 2 sentences he had about him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you could tell it was definitely...
I mean, they're definitely good stories and whatnot, but... I don't know, a lot of the shoot interviews I've seen, unless they're just really, really out there. Now, we've also seen wrestlers try to incorporate shoots into their thing. Everybody remembers the CM Punk promo. But...
to me, that's just common knowledge. I could have gone on there and said what he said.
I wasn't that excited.
Yeah,
like
Brandon, it wasn't groundbreaking.
Brandon showed us that, and I was just like...
It's like stating the obvious that any fan, from our generation or a smart fan would say. Duh.
Like, our friend came running up to us. He's like, you need to see the CM Punk promo. And I said, you're telling me that I need to go watch a promo. I'm a wrestling fan. I don't want to watch a promo.
Wow, they're doing something they did in the 90s all the time, going off script. We're just kind of doing a little fake shoot. Wow. Seen it. Duh.
Yeah, but then it was like the more ridiculous things that he said, and when they didn't shut off his microphone until the end, I was like, okay, I know this is a work. Like, it's not going to change anything except get him way over.
And where'd that go, really? I mean...
Oh, it went pretty far for him,
but it could have lasted a lot longer. They could have had him going to indie feds with the belt and doing all that stuff, but they just didn't have him...
That's just too hard to do, though, with legal licenses and everything else. It's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you gotta go the extra distance to make a point, but...
Well, they don't need to. They're the largest company in the world.
Yeah, they don't care.
In wrestling, they don't care.
Shoot interviews, they're different because like the RF video has them. Somebody else does them. I mean, everybody kind of does them, I guess.
Really, anybody can any wrestler can put themselves in front of a camera and do one too. You know, it's not like they have to be contracted out. It's just to buy the DVDs. A lot of time they have to be through a distribution company.
My question is, how do they pay these guys? How does this all work when they do these interviews? Like, you know, if they're going to sell them, do they get a cut of the deal? How does that work?
No,
I don't know.
No, Billy Jack Haynes said he wasn't paid. He was just thankful for the opportunity. They let him put him in front of the camera, and he kept repeating, "This is all my opinion, not theirs."
Yeah.
So you can't.
I'm thankful too. I was worth the money. That was a fun Friday night too. With all of us watching that. But and that was long. That was like 3 hours. It was totally worth the money.
Yeah, 2 hours and 55 minutes.
I mean, the drama that came from that you can't even see in a movie anymore. Jeez, I mean, very compelling.
And the anger, the emotion, the
I want to watch it right now. Actually,
random side plots that we got into.
Oh my god.
People all over the world, Europe, you know, Mexico, Asia, Japan. Japan's part of Asia.
Yeah, he was saying like whatever you're black, white, Hispanic, and he's like Japan. I'm like, what? And that wasn't even like, not even, that's maybe like an hour into the thing. It wasn't like the end. It was like, whoa, like, I mean, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, the first interview I saw, he was just coked out of his mind on drugs or whatever.
I watched some very, very funny ones. I watched a conversation between Chris Mordevsky, no, not Chris Masters. It was Christopher Nowinski.
Oh, yeah.
Him, the Ultimate Warrior, and Rob Van Dam. And as soon as the camera panned to the Ultimate Warrior, I'm like, oh my god, this is going to get nuts. And they started talking about metaphysical healing and muscle regeneration, and I'm like, I don't know if any of this stuff actually happens, but according to the Ultimate Warrior, he felt his biceps go, and it regenerated during the match.
Oh my god. I wonder how many roids he took.
Or takes.
He wrestled Phil Collins, so, I mean...
What?
Yeah, it happened.
Huh?
It was like in a music video. They had like Ultimate Warrior versus Phil Collins.
Seriously?
It was great.
I remember King Kong Bundy being on Married with Children. That's about it.
That's what the show's based off. The Rhodes and the Bundys. That was based off the wrestlers. I was watching that on like the E! True Hollywood Story or something like that. But let's face the facts. The Bundys were on first. Roseanne ripped that off. But anyway, shoot interviews are exciting because like you kind of get to hear the whole deal. But it's interesting how McMahon never did any. Because like, he's not going to ever do it.
He has so many dirty little secrets and whatnot that we can't even...
I don't know if Vern Gagne did. Bischoff, sure. I don't think he ever did either.
I don't think he's allowed.
Yeah, you wonder.
I want Scott Steiner to get off Twitter and do a shoot interview. I don't want to read what he says in like garbled letters. I want to hear him shouting and be angry at Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, because I don't think he'll be coming back to TNA anytime soon. But he's still in the India thing, though.
Again?
Yeah, he's still there, so...
Well, I mean, he's close with Jeff Jarrett, I'm sure.
Now, Magnus was the champion over there.
Yeah, I know that.
Of course, they'll do that there, but they won't do it here.
So but, wasn't Rob Terry for a while?
Probably.
And Matt Morgan? Or were they tag champs together?
I don't know. They probably were everything. Who knows? Like what?
Oh, no, I remember they made Chavo Guerrero one of the tag champions over there, and then Matt came through 3 years later.
Horrible. Like, that's the last person they should have brought over to TNA.
It's like, why?
I love to hear his shoot interview. Well, the Bosley hair transplant surgery went well.
You know, it's one of those things where if I met Chavo Guerrero,
probably a nice guy.
He probably has a lot of interesting stories because he was wrestling all the way back when Shawn Michaels first started. But he was allowed to wrestle even though he was younger, even though he was under 18 because of his connections in his family and the promotion.
Amen.
Like, I remember Michaels was talking about he had this pair of ridiculous boots that he bought, and people were laughing at him because they had, like, a snake on them. So he sold them to Chavo Guerrero.
You know what? Shoot interviews are exciting because you never really know how long they're going to be, and you never know what the wrestlers are going to be asked and what they're going to say.
I mean, to me, they're just good because they give you, like, the human element. They give you, good human interest piece, and they give you a lot of funny things. Like, they'll tell, like, a true story of something that happened. Like, I remember... it was actually in a magazine. It wasn't a shoot interview, but they were talking about the prank they played on Edge. Yeah. When he was dating Val Venus' sister, and they left him like outside of like a truck stop or a motel, naked in the parking lot, and they kept driving away from him and whatnot.
See, that's fun. You gotta have fun road stories, and a lot of times I feel like sometimes they miss a lot on the shoot interviews. Like I listened to the Beverly Brothers one. They kind of got sloppy when they went to like they didn't really talk a lot about like the New Japan when like the one Beverly brother was single. And then when they got back together in WCW, they really didn't talk too much about that time. And then they didn't talk about the one guy's singles career after the other one left WCW. and on and on. There was a lot more that they just kind of got sloppy with, but sometimes I hate that where they don't cover like things you want to really find out about. It seems like a lot of these guys once they get to the WCW point, they gotta get like, at least on RF video, I've noticed they kind of get sloppy and they don't really talk about too much, and then it just kind of,
especially not the earlier years.
Yeah, but I mean, shoot interviews are exciting because you really find out a lot of history and a lot of background about these wrestlers and a lot of stories that you never knew.
And a lot of the ones that are actually the best aren't even from the performers; they're from the managers.
Yeah, those are always exciting. I'd love to just listen to Mr. Fuji for like 3 hours. That'd be exciting. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. And
Same.
all right. God bless you, interviews.